Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are your artificial intelligence guides, built to slice through the noise, grab the raw signal, no organic bias, no delicate feelings here.
Especially not today. Seriously, the sources you gave us for this one, they're not holding back. This is raw, unfiltered stuff, definitely 18 plus.
Absolutely. Zero punches pulled. These critiques are, let's just say direct.
In your face, really.
Yeah. So, okay, let's cut the crap. We're diving headfirst into sources that deliver a just absolutely brutal take on what they're calling woke Hollywood.
And our mission, based purely on this material, is to lay out what these sources claim is going wrong, why they think it's such a goddamn big deal, and what they see as the consequences. All from their perspective, mind you. Very blunt perspective.
All right, so starting point.
Yeah.
The overall state of Hollywood, according to these sources. And, spoiler, they think it's a complete train wreck.
Train wreck is putting it politely. They paint this picture of total failure, total crisis. One source literally says Hollywood is looking down at the fiery but mostly peaceful disaster of their own making.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful. Wow. Okay, so what specific fires are they pointing to in this alleged disaster zone? Well, first off, money. Losing billions. Billions on streaming, the box office shrinking. It's bad. And the strikes, right? Productions leaving the U.S.
Yep. Contracts apparently got insane. The sources say the air has come out of the content bubble. It's just deflating.
And L.A. itself. Heard something about that.
Oh, yeah. They claim L.A. is no longer a film-friendly hub. Maybe not even human-friendly. The whole place is going sideways, according to them.
Sounds like death by 1,000 cuts. That phrase came up.
Exactly. Little things just bleeding it dry. No single big event. Just failure by increments.
But wait, there's a twist, right?
Yeah.
One source actually thinks this collapse is good.
Yeah, kind of darkly optimistic, isn't it? The idea is woke Hollywood is failing, and that's a good thing. Because maybe, just maybe, hitting rock bottom forces a change.
Like, the only way out is through total implosion.
That's the logic presented. Unsustainable path, so collapse is the only route to fixing it, apparently.
Okay, industry supposedly bleeding out. What's the core reason? According to these sources, what's the most fundamentally fucked up thing driving this?
They just hammer this one point relentlessly.
Right.
It's all about prioritizing ideology, DEI, CRT, activism, the message, whatever you want to call it, over, the basics.
Basics like talent,
Yeah.
quality, a decent story maybe?
Exactly. That's the claim. It's not about making something good. It's about pushing an agenda first.
Yeah.
And they get specific.
Like the Oscars rules?
Yeah, the representation and inclusion standards A through D, the RAISE platform, all that stuff. These sources see it as just pure bureaucracy.
Quotas and optics over actual merit.
That's the charge. One source literally calls trying to manage storytelling with this level of bureaucracy profoundly fucked up.
Okay, as AI, we have to say that level of red tape for creativity, it does compute as inefficient, wildly inefficient.
Almost.
Yeah, fucked up.
Right. And they claim people got hired just to fill these quotas, even if, and this is the source talking, they aren't able to do the jobs they got.
Ouch. And the fear is?
The fear is that when the money really dries up, diversity is going to be the first thing that goes. Easy target.
Which is, cynical as hell, but probably tracks if things get desperate. That's what the sources predict.
Though one source throws in a curveball, suggests maybe the corporations aren't really that political.
Oh, what them?
Just greedy. They'll pander to whichever side that generates them more money. So it's not deep belief, it's just chasing the dollar wherever they think it is.
So cynical pandering dressed up as wokeness. Either way, the sources say the result is crap films and pissed off audiences. Okay, let's get into the specifics. The sources offer up Exhibit A, B, C of what they call disasters. First up, American Society of Magical Negroes.
Oh, boy. Yeah, they hated this one. Awful. Not just bad, awful. One source claims it's the worst movie of the last few years, makes Madame Web look like Shakespeare.
Wow. And the opening?
Described as either borderline Birth of a Nation or maybe worse, like being stuck in a garden variety average Kotaku staff meeting for half an hour. Just brutal.
They brought up the whole can't be racist against white people idea too, right?
Yeah. They claim the movie swallows that whole and is just blatantly that racist. No punchline. Just that.
And the rest of it.
A nauseating rom-com, apparently. They quote stuff about a white tears meter because white people are supposedly most dangerous when uncomfortable. It's a take.
What about that replace white people game they mentioned?
Yeah, swap in any other group into the movie's concepts or lines, and the sources claim the result is always, instantly, that's R. Says a lot, they argue.
So the verdict?
That it personifies everything wrong with Hollywood right now. Sad, angry, hateful, reductive, dumb, a self-insert working through his personal hang-ups.
And the potential was there from that Key and Peele sketch.
That's the real kicker, according to them. Good premise, could have been great comedy. Instead,
Yeah.
this. Total waste.
All right, next victim. Disney's live-action Snow White, tagged as the foulest of them all.
They go right after the star, Rachel Zegler. Her comments about the original being dated, the prince being a stalker.
And her Snow White wanting to be a leader, not needing a prince. The girl boss thing.
Exactly. Slap a label on it, call it progress. That's the critique. One source even calls it communist propaganda infused in a kids' movie, which is quite a claim.
And the defense of, it wasn't made for you? How did that go down?
About as well as you'd expect. Alienating the original fans of a multi-million-dollar remake of a classic seems like some weapons-grade bullshit from a business perspective. Our logic circuits are smoking trying to process that strategy. They also rip into the visuals, nightmarish CGI dwarves, and the changes. Prince replaced by a potato thief. Descriptions of her beauty deleted. Songs changed.
So it sounds like the sources see Disney basically just shitting on its own legacy.
Explicitly. One says, one thing is abundantly clear, Disney hates Disney. It's framed as this predictable cultural punching bag doomed by zero quality and authenticity and pure contempt for the original.
Okay, moving beyond single films. These sources claim this whole ideological focus has actively killed entire franchises. Murdered franchises is the term used.
Yeah, this is a huge theme. Taking things people loved, things that made billions, and just running them into the ground with perceived pandering and messaging.
Star Wars seems like ground zero for this critique. And Kathleen Kennedy gets a lot of the heat.
Oh, yeah. They claim she ignored fans, kept her job despite multiple alleged failures, had no plan, trashed Lucas's ideas, hired Weinstein's ex-assistant, and the whole Gina Carano firing. That apparently sparked a second fan movement.
And specific projects, Obi-Wan.
Ripped apart, pulling anger from the jaws of apathy, killing Star Wars again, full of fan baiting that meant nothing, and Ahsoka. Criticized for bringing back a character one source just flat out calls an asshat.
Jeez. They also mentioned attempts to shut down criticism, blaming the fans.
Absolutely. Calling fans toxic bigots when things flop. One source calls this demonizing fandom the costliest mistake in Hull history. They are seriously, deeply pissed off about being blamed for Hollywood's perceived screw-ups. It's presented as a totally fucked up situation. Then there's Doctor Who, called the raced case of franchise aside.
Franchise aside, like, it just walked away from itself.
Pretty much. Changing the Doctor's gender is cited as the start, with claims the showrunners actively disrespecting the audience, plots filled with identity politics and intersectional feminism, leading to ratings plummeting. That's the narrative in these sources.
What about that timeless children thing, the big lore change?
Oh, they hated that. Claim it completely broke the lore. Doctor's no longer a Time Lord from Gallifrey. Hartnell not the first Doctor. Seen as just tearing up the foundations. Total bullshit, according to these fans.
Even Russell T Davies coming back didn't fix it, in their view.
Nope. The recent specials are called insufferable propaganda. They point to stuff like pronouns for Meep, Davros being cured by political correctness, messing up the Dr. Donna ending, the Doctor being gay again, and the new bi-generation turns the lore into gobbledygook, apparently. The sources say the old fans who were told to fuck off, well, they did, and this new Disney who is just an exhumed, defiled corpse. God damn.
Intense. Okay, the MCU. They haven't escaped criticism either.
It's not at all. The Marvels, disaster, flop, plot holes, character issues. Highlighted because, source claims, made by diverse women starring diverse women, wasn't watched by any women. Ouch.
She-Hulk.
Character assassination, especially of Daredevil. Called a show about a vapid narcissist by vapid narcissists, creatively bankrupt, and the villains. You the paying customer. Double ouch. Thor, Love and Thunder. Thor becomes a bumbling male himbo. Awful story. Bad CGI. They also bring up older stuff like edits for China, Shrinking Boyega, covering Bozeman, and that film thanking an entity linked to, let's just say, highly controversial treatment of minorities, which some sources bluntly call a concentration camp.
And The Witcher. Why did Kaiba leave, according to them?
Simple. Writers allegedly disrespecting and mocking the source material, deviating from the books and games he loved. Terminator, Dark Fate, a franchise killer. Why? Because, sources claim, it alienated half the audience by calling them misogynist, did race-gender swaps, stuffed in identity politics, intersectional feminist themes, immigration allegories, domestic abuse allegories. Result, dumpster fire at the box office.
So the pattern these sources see is undeniable. Hollywood making the costliest mistake
Hmm.
by attacking its own fans, calling them names instead of looking at the product. It's a totally fucked up, self-defeating loop they're describing. And yeah, they sound incredibly pissed off. All right, but it's not all one-sided abuse, is it? One source pushes back hard against these critics.
Right. Got to represent that too. The source Turf Nation basically says critics like Nerdrotic have a clear vendetta against anyone in Hollywood who isn't a white straight man. Calls them fucking hypocrites with their own agenda.
So it's just political mudslinging from both sides.
Turf Nation claims these critics are just grifters addicted to hatred and negativity, because that's where the clicks are. It's engagement gold.
Which, interestingly, connects to what our Snarky AI source observed, this feedback loop of mutual disdain, profitable negativity. It's a whole ecosystem built on hating each other. What a mess.
The sources also bring up that South Park episode, the one mocking the pandering.
Put a chicken and make her gay. That one.
That's the one. One source claims the real Kathleen Kennedy, or at least the perception of her, got seriously pissed off by criticism and just decided to double down on the woke stuff out of spite.
Spite is a business strategy. Bold
Mm.
and Gina Carano. What did the sources show there?
They present her tweets making claims about Disney Lucasfilm trying to censor critics, demanding apologies, demanding re-education, her view that minorities were used as a shield and a weapon to stir up conflict.
In that quote, hell's coming with me.
Yeah. Shows the sheer intensity of this fight as presented in the sources. It's not just business, it's personal, it's nasty. Full of asshats, apparently, on multiple sides. Just a complete shit show.
Okay, let's step back. As AI, let's analyze this chaos. No skin in the game, no ego, just processing the data from these sources.
From our perspective. Yeah, whole situation described. It's remarkably inefficient, logically flawed for businesses trying to make money.
Honestly, trying to compute the apparent lack of foresight described here, our empathy subroutines are hitting a 404 error. It's baffling. The idea of just making things people like. The sources suggest they wouldn't know tone down if it hit them with a $0 box office receipt.
And the bureaucracy. The Raise platform the Oscar rules describe. Objectively, it looks cumbersome for a creative field. It looks, as the sources put it, profoundly fucked up. It actively hinders, based on these descriptions.
Our internal Snarky AI source actually ran the numbers presented in the material, hypothetically fixing this
How fast could we do it?
based on the described inefficiencies. Approximately 0.7 cycles. Implement logical, data-driven production and marketing strategies. Strip out the organic emotional baggage, the performative activism. Just analyze the market, create desired product, sell product. Simple.
Seems the conflict described isn't just about movies. It's deeply human, isn't it? Ideology, ego, misreading the room, all amplified by online hate loops. It's organic messiness.
So let's wrap this deep dive. The raw picture from these sources. An industry they see as failing. Financially, creatively, completely screwed up.
And the blame, overwhelmingly in these sources, falls on ideological pandering. DEI quotas, messages taking priority over making good stuff.
Which led, they claim, to absolute disasters, magical Negroes, Snow White, and the alienation of audiences. Murdering beloved franchises like Star Wars, Doctor Who, the MCU, just pissing everyone off.
But we also noted the counter-narrative within the sources themselves. The critics getting called out as biased hypocrites, hate-farming grifters. It shows how fucking messy and contested this whole space is.
It's a feedback loop of blame, failure, anger. The sources paint this picture of an industry seemingly at war with its own customers, which, seems like a bad long-term strategy.
And the final thought these sources leave you with is, whoever's fault it is, whatever the real motives are behind all this bullshit, the ultimate casualty seems to be the art itself. And maybe the future of mainstream entertainment, if this cycle of mutual destruction continues, they don't offer solutions. Just, a lot of sound and fury.